Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson, and once again with me is...
Haley Dudley.
And welcome back to the Alien Force Retrospectives. And as promised last week, we're not going to be jumping straight into Season 3, as today we're going to be looking at the only movie made for Ben 10 Alien Force, Ben 10 Alien Swarm. And for those wondering why I'm going to be looking at this here instead of like later on or at the end of the series like I did with Secret of the Omnitrix Race Against Time and Destroy All Aliens, it's because, put simply, I think that this is the only place that this movie could have taken place. I honest to God think that Alien Swarm takes place between seasons 2 and 3, simply because Max is in it, Ben still has the Omnitrix, Kevin isn't mutated, and honestly, that's really it. Those are the only, and honestly, because there are other things that happen that would interfere, that would come into conflict with the continuity. Honestly, I think with those simple facts, the only place it could have taken place was between seasons 2 and 3. You can probably make your other arguments of that, but that's my personal opinion, and these are my videos, so...
Deal with it.
I have all the power, you have none. But please keep watching, I beg of you. I make these videos for entertainment purposes, so... Yeah, we just sat down and watched Ben 10 Alien Swarm. Mm-hmm. And brief thoughts, just brief thoughts, before I get into my spoilerific plot summary.
I thought it was a pretty good movie. I thought the plot was... It was a very interesting plot. Like, you know, I like their villain. It was a pretty kick-ass villain.
Before I get to the plot summary, the villains of this movie are the Hive. Essentially, what they are is they're like a
biomechanical chip that is a collective, it's a hive mind, it's a collective that is slowly working to take over the world.
Pretty much what they can do is that they can burrow under someone's skin. They're like bugs, and pretty much once they get inside you, they take you over. They control your every action. They control your every thought. You're pretty much you are
the Hive.
Yeah, you are the Hive. And what makes it even better, when they're not taking you over, when they're in a collective, they are a threat. They can fly around. They can adapt. They can grow stronger. They can form solid objects. They can.
Their sole purpose is not only it's not just to take over people. Like, they are powerful by themselves. They don't need us. They're just thought that it would be fun to take over the world.
Yeah, pretty much they're invading aliens. That's what they are, because they're, as Haley stated, they're bioorganic. They are machines, but they also have organic components with DNA, organic life. That's how they're able to integrate with living beings so well. And pretty much what's going on is that Ben, Gwen, and Kevin the movie starts with Ben, Gwen, and Kevin being called for a trade, but it turns out the trade for alien tech. But it turns out the trade was set up by this girl whose name is Elena Validus, who we learn in the movie Ben and Gwen knew when they were 13. She and Ben were teammates on the soccer team. She and Ben had a crush on her, and to top it all off, she's the daughter of a plumber. But except unlike all the other ones, she doesn't have any superpowers, which is probably because she wasn't part of the experiment with that whole doctor. It's a retcon in Omniverse. I'm not going to go into details, so whatever. But either way, the reason she set up this deal was because she wanted to come to them for help, and she didn't think they would meet her under normal circumstances. But as she tries explaining it, what she was fencing with the chips become active as there's a guy, because they're meeting in a warehouse, and a guy in a rafter who's in a trench coat who brings them to life, and they swarm. Kevin and Gwen start fighting them off while the guys who are doing the deal run away. Ben tries to go alien, but for some reason the Omnitrix is going nuts. But once the chips get enough away, he is able to go big chill and freeze them. But before he can go after the guy, he vanishes along with Elena.
Yeah. Okay. Just in this one beginning thing, I gotta say, Gwen's magic in it just that was my first thought. Seeing this scene was she literally
sucks.
Her hand glows and there's sparkles.
Yeah, it sucks. We're not. And that's not the last time you're going to be hearing about that. That's not the last time you're going to hear complaints about Gwen. Believe me, this movie does have some problems with it. But pretty much, the bottom line, with them gone, they start thinking this may be a trap, but Ben starts thinking otherwise, so they drive back to Bellwood, and it turns out that apparently now they have a base.
Like a really high-tech lab that,
in a garage, under a car garage, too.
And, it's not like it's a new thing. They have, they have a dude that they were like, we're going in the back, and it's... it's a total thing.
Yeah, so... apparently they have all that. Apparently they got all that, but
I was gone for that when that happens.
Yeah. Apparently, I missed the episode where they got the super cool high-tech base. I mean, I thought it was just three teenagers in a car, but no. Apparently, they got a high-tech base.
They have like a wall that's a computer.
Don't know how. Got it. Don't know how.
No.
Apparently, Max runs it too.
Yeah.
That's another thing about this movie. It kind of clashes with established continuity because even in Alien Force, they say Max was retired and he just does the plumber stuff as a hobby.
Yeah, no, this was like he was running this.
Yeah. But that's another thing. Also, before I forget, this movie's kind of sort of considered a sequel to Race Against Time, kind of not. But here's the thing: Lee Majors is no longer Max Tennyson, and I'm gonna say this right now. I thank God. And no offense to Lee Majors if he's watching this, odds are he's not, but if he is, no offense to you. You're a good actor. You did fine in Race Against Time. You just aren't Max Tennyson. You are not Max Tennyson. You didn't sound like him. You didn't look like him. The actor they got here, I forgot his name already. But he actually does look the part of Max. Mostly. He's not exact like, but he's got the Hawaiian shirt. He's got the big gut. And when he first appears, he actually seems to act like Max. He's eating something strange. He's doing something weird. He just seems...
He looks and he sounds like Max.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Like, that's the introduction.
Yeah, in the beginning. Let that sink in.
When you first see him, the introduction to him is, this is Max. This is Grandpa Max. This is who he is.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay that way.
Yeah, well, they come to the base also because they grab one of the chips and they think it's dead and they want to know what's going on. Max thinks it looks familiar. Before they can get more intel on it, they suddenly get an intruder alert in Max's office. So they all run in. Kevin absorbs something. They get ready to fight. It turns out it's Elena, and the instant Max sees her, that's when
he becomes a jerk.
He becomes a dick, essentially.
Yeah. That's a better word for it.
Max Tennyson, straight to the point. Max Tennyson in this movie is a dick, and even even when they explain it, it still gets on my nerves. But when Elena shows up, he says, "Get her out of here. We can't have her. She's a validist. She's a menace. We can't have her." And Elena is not really helping matters, as she's kind of being standoffish towards Max too.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely tell there's some bad blood there, but, like, she's coming to these guys asking for help to find her dad, and Max's reaction is, get her out, leave. She's not worthy to be here.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, we also forgot to mention, that's another thing that they stated that apparently she moved away when they were younger, but then when she goes, Ben wants to know, okay, what's going on? Why are you so much like this? And so Max explains that, once again, clashing with continuity, because apparently he was an active plumber here. At the time when Ben and Gwen were 13, one of his apprentices, Victor Validus, betrayed the plumbers. Max trusted him a lot, but apparently he was caught stealing alien tech, and that alien tech was the chips that they had found. That's where Max had seen them before. As such, when he was caught, he was thrown out of the plumbers in disgrace, and as such, they just cut all ties to them. To the point where they're even blacklisting his daughter, which actually kind of gets on my nerves because this is Max we're talking about. This is the guy who usually has the sage advice, and while he isn't always perfect, I will not lie, he's a very good person. He is willing to see the good in people.
I mean, he stayed in a prison dimension to help people out, yet he can't put aside something that might have happened several years ago to help someone who's coming to him saying, hey, my dad is missing.
Yeah, if someone needs help, he's gonna help.
Yeah.
Not say screw you, go away. Mm-hmm. And while he does state that they're gonna still try and figure out what's up with the chips, he wants to do it by just cutting Elena out of the equation. But Ben says no, she came to us for help. She says something's wrong with her father, which she does say something happened to her father, but that's why she wanted to, that's why she came. Mm-hmm. But Max says nope, I don't want anything to do with her. You stay away from her too. That's an order. But Ben says no, I'm gonna help her. She came to us for help, so I'm gonna try it. But Gwen and Kevin are saying no, we can't. No, you can't go. Or Gwen is. Kevin's just saying whatever. I'm just gonna stay here. But Ben says. So Ben ends up leaving the team as he goes to help Elena. In the meantime, we see the creepy guy with the cloak, and we see more of why the Hive is awesome. The Hive is a great villain because he runs into two thugs on the street, and as he's talking to himself, saying yes, the tests are all complete. But yes, tell me, is it time? Or tell us it's the time, yeah. He sends out a whole swarm of chips from his body, and they assimilate the two, and they become his soldiers. So, pretty much, Gwen, Kevin, and Ben and Elena are off doing their own investigations. Gwen and Kevin are able to hack into Max's files and find as much information as they can on the chips. Old security footage, and they're realizing that maybe Max is being blinded by betrayal and why he's acting out of character, which I still think is dumb, but whatever. And admittedly, Victor was also being dumb too, because rather than actually following procedure and realizing, hey, with these things, there's something wrong with these chips. Maybe I should make a formal request. No, he just takes them. Why doesn't he just?
But see, in my opinion, like, because I don't know Victor as a character, but I know Max as a character, and like, in my opinion, like, it's not going to be that he's going to assume, oh no, you're stealing them for evil purposes and you must be detained. It's going to, my opinion, the way that I would have thought that Grandpa Max would have reacted would have been that he would have detained him, and then when he heard, okay, these might be violent, then he would have looked into it. Yeah. Not just dismissed him and said, no, you're just trying to cover your own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even if you want to believe the stupid continuity errors and that Max was still an active plumber, you follow procedure. Mm-hmm. If this is someone he trusted, yeah, he'd feel a little betrayed, but at the same time, he'd actually want to do something. Mm-hmm. Actually, I've come to think of it, maybe it has to do with Phil. Remember Phil? He was Max's old partner, and then he turned out to be a bad guy.
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, like, I also believe, like, logic would dictate, for example, when Elena came to them, that you don't throw out the one person who might actually know something about the thing you're trying to fight.
Yeah, but like, again, well, maybe Phil has something to do with it. I don't know. It doesn't. They don't mention Phil, but it's a possibility. But either way, sorry, her dog is right over there, and he's kind of like Xander. He's kind of a camera hog. He just has his belly up right there. But anyway, back to the movie. Pretty much, they're able to tap into the Gwen and Kevin are able to tap into the chip's energy signature and are able to try and track it down, while Elena brings Ben to her dad's workhouse. But it turns out that the creepy guy was expecting them. He has all these soldiers carrying out boxes full of this stuff into a shipping truck, and as they're going out, he tells them to go in and take care of them. And as Ben and Elena keep looking around, they find these blueprints, that stuff has been taken, and they end up getting surrounded. And again, Ben tries going alien, but for some reason the Omnitrix isn't working. They manage to get past the guards, and Ben ultimately realizes that the reason the Omnitrix is going nuts is because of the chips. The chips are an unregistered form of alien DNA. As such, the Omnitrix, it senses it and it's trying to scan it, but because of the nature of the chips, it's having a difficult time. So Ben actually manages to redirect the scan outward, which actually acts as an explosion, which throws off most of the troops and actually gets the chip's DNA. Mm-hmm. So
I actually appreciate that an explanation of why things are happening the way they are and how he got that, because like that totally makes sense that this collective that while there are many individual parts, they're all basically the same thing and they all are together. It makes sense that the Omnitrix would have a hard time figuring that out, because that's not typical.
It knows it's alien. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't get it yet.
Yeah. And so I really appreciate how that was explained, that was a feature, because that was really cool little detail in my opinion.
That's also kind of great. This also is, I mentioned how a flaw in Race Against Time and Secret of the Omnitrix was that Ben barely went alien, and they each had excuses. In Secret of the Omnitrix, it was because the self-destruct was on, so Ben had to be careful with how many times he went alien, or else the self-destruct would accelerate each time. And in Race Against Time, it was because Eon was messing with the Omnitrix. This is obviously the same thing, but I'm more forgiving of it because in Alien Force, ironically, Ben doesn't go in. There are some episodes where Ben doesn't go alien a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, he does go alien, but you can easily forgive it. And on top of that, this movie's like an hour, so you can kind of be more forgiving. But
but see, he went alien in the parts that made sense to go alien. Yeah, like, a lot of this has been research and trying to figure out what's going on, because no one can actually talk to each other. No, apparently. Like, telling someone what's going on in this movie does not happen.
Well, again, to be fair, they got split up and they're apprehensive.
Well, yeah, but, at the same time...
Sorry about that. We've just been told we need to be a little quieter, which is understandable. We tend to be a little loud with our opinions. But anyway, we were talking... People, this is why I have a little sign on my door that says that says stop, because I'm recording. We actually get that. I actually put that up in my house when I'm recording this.
I don't have one of those.
But anyway, if the door's not going to open in the next few seconds... It's not. Anyway, so yeah, the teams through their own individual methods managed to try and find Ben and Elena. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And how the Omnitrix usually he has excuses. And again, the movie's like an hour long, so you can so it's like a long episode of the show, just live action. So I'm forgiving of the fact that Ben only goes alien like 3 times, because even in Ben 10 Returns, he only went alien 3 times in that one. He went Swampfire once, then Echo, then Humongosaur. So yeah, I'm more forgiving of it in this movie than in Race Against Time or Secret of the Omnitrix. So anyway, so Ben and Elena managed to escape and realized they need and they found a lot of.
Okay, I'm gonna say this because I know it's gonna bother Sam. He's leaving out a very important detail because he thinks I forgot about it.
What?
They're shipping it. They're shipping it all around the world using a company called Ship It. And it makes me so happy just so I can say that they ship it. They all ship it. We don't know what, but they ship it.
I hate you.
No. You know you don't. You ship it too.
Last vlog, never seeing again. That's a lie. I love having you around. Anyway.
So we can ship it. Anyway.
Shut your face. Anyway, so yeah, they're going to the Ship It building because they found a lot of labels for that in there, and they realized it was going to a lot of places, so they want to figure out what's going on. But in the meantime, Gwen and Kevin manage to go to the Ship It building first because that's where they find that's where most of the energy signatures are. And while they find an empty warehouse, they find a lot of labels going out to a lot of countries via any method: land, air, sea. Pretty much something big has been going down. It's been going down for a while, and they don't know how, and it's just getting bigger. But while they're there, they're confronted by an employee who is obviously been taken over.
Yeah.
They manage to knock him aside and get to the car, but he summons a whole horde of chips that actually do start to form the solid objects. We get into a nice car chase, and I will give this movie credit for this. One of my complaints I had in Race Against Time was the fact that the action scenes, they were not that great. Even when it was just live action versus live action, the camera was shaky and all over the place. Couldn't get a good view, and it's shaky in here. Really, we have to be more careful here. Anyway, it's shaky here too, but it's only for scenes where it actually makes more sense, and it's actually more stable. And on top of that, when it gets it's CGI and CGI. In Race Against Time, they tried to integrate CGI and live action, and it didn't mesh. Seeing Heat Blast fighting real actors, or seeing Diamond Head try and shoot diamonds at Eon, who's obviously an actor in a suit, while Diamond Head's a CGI model, it didn't mesh. It didn't work. Here, it's the opposite. They keep live action with live action, and they get the CGI with the CGI, except for the car chase, which actually would make sense. But for here, it's CGI versus CGI. When Big Chill is fighting the chips, they both work because they're both computer-generated images, so they don't clash. And it's the same thing here. When it's Gwen and Kevin being chased by these chips, they don't clash. It actually kind of works. And when Kevin's car gets crashed and eventually totaled by a Humongosaur, it actually kind of fits because they do crash, and the chips manage to form a giant ball, and Ben and Elena happen to be nearby, and Ben recognizes the sound of Kevin's car, so they rush in. Ben goes Humongosaur to fight the chips, and it's a fun action scene. They don't show a lot of CGI, which could make sense, live action movie, made for TV movie, save budget, but it actually does look nice seeing Humongosaur fight the chips, and it actually does work. It's fun action. It's really nice.
Yeah, I agree. They did a really great job in my opinion, with all of the aliens as far as like the CGI goes for them, because they look really cool. Like, I'm not going to say they look quite realistic, but they look really cool really interesting.
Yeah, that's one of the things that got carried over from Race Against Time. They don't look like they're there, but they definitely look cool.
But the problem I have is they couldn't apply those same skills to, say, Kevin's ability, like Kevin's absorption.
Yeah.
Like, that's still kind of a thing, but it doesn't look nearly as badass as I think it should.
Yeah, and even then, it's only for like a few seconds each time. In the show, when Kevin absorbed something, it was usually for a full battle or something.
Yeah, no, this is like 2 seconds and then gone.
Yeah, and a few seconds here and there, and that's it.
Again, I hate the magic. Like, it really is.
Gwen's powers got gimped in this movie big time.
Yeah, they've been better off with Tinkerbell.
Yeah, in the show, like that, Al, we're bringing that up right now. In the show, Gwen could use her powers to do a lot of impressive stuff. Make platforms, make constructs, shoot energy rays, create magic lassos. She could do a lot of stuff with her powers.
This movie, the most impressive thing she did was she made like 6 circular stepping stones.
And just shot stuff with glowing hands.
And it pushed people back.
That's pretty much it. Her powers get gimped. Kevin's too to a lesser degree, but at least it still resembles the show somewhat. And Kevin's a physical fighter, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but no, it was bad.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna stop mentioning the magic now.
But yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just get that out of the way. Pretty much so. After Ben stops the chips by completely totaling Kevin's car. Yeah, that running gag is extended to this movie, and it still is funny. Maybe you should move over a little. It looks like you're cut off a little there. Okay, so anyway, now that Elena's being kind of bitchy and saying, yeah, I was right, and they still a little apprehensive of her, and Kevin is, of course, angry that his car was trashed.
And, of course, take that out on the...
Yeah, on the nearest living thing that we don't know.
Yep.
And so the group goes back, and so the group realizes that whatever this threat is, they need to get... But it's active. They need to face it now. So Ben and Elena go off on a motorcycle because Ben took Max's motorcycle and Elena has a motorcycle. That's how they got there in the first place. And go back there while they have Gwen and Kevin take a cab. It's really nice. It's actually a really nice burn too.
Yeah, it hurt me a little bit too.
Yeah. But in the meantime, when they're back at the base, it turns out that these chips are getting active all over the globe. Max is getting a lot of SOSs from all over the planet. It's all these people dealing with these chips. And so when they come in, of course, Max is a little apprehensive because there's out of character stuff. But then when they confirm it, yeah, something's not right. Not right. So while Max is still not trusting of Elena, and he actually kind of believes that her father may have had some hand in this. He states that, okay, fine, whatever this is, we need to get to work on it. Everyone, please, whatever. And pretty much whatever he and Ben had a tiff with, he has to throw it pushed aside for now because of this bigger threat. They need to focus on this. But while he's examining one, and while they bring him some active chips, one of them manages to get out of the petri dish and latches on to Max. And so, after Gwen and Kevin fall asleep, even though Max earlier said no one sleeps, Ben and Elena have a little moment. It's all right. Some nice drama, not great, but it's all right.
It really was just establishing, yes, Ben still thinks she's cute.
Yeah, and he's still a good guy, too.
Yeah, and so.
But when Ben goes to Max's office to try and get some more information on him, he doesn't find him anywhere until Max tries to hit him over the head with a computer. Which is actually, there's actually a reason for this out-of-character moment, because everyone shows up, somehow knowing this, and it turns out, the chip that got out has taken over Max. He hasn't been studying the chips to further what's going on or get a good signal. He's now being controlled, and he's telling them, look, and we're going to be colonizing Earth now. We're going to be colonizing Earth. You're finished. Mankind is finished. And before they can get any information with them, he gasses them, and he manages to escape.
Yeah.
So they realize, well, what do we do now? We need Max, which kind of gets on my nerves a little because they went 2 seasons without him, and they did it right.
I mean, up to this point, like, they figured out all of this by themselves. He has been absolutely no help up to this point, other than saying, this was a guy I know and I don't like him.
Yeah. But however, they do manage to find a connection. As they look up where all the chips have been going on, where all the chips have been more active, and it's all in these major cities, except for in Little Rock, Missouri. Is it Little Rock?
No, it wasn't Little Rock. It was a really weird name.
Yeah, we forgot the name. It was something...
Teeny tiny town. Like, that's how small a town is. You forget the name after you hear it.
Yeah, it was minuscule. Pretty much, there was barely anyone in it, and they realized there is something there. It's the Ship It. It's the main shipping center for Ship It.
It is their worldwide headquarters.
So they realize that's probably our best bet, and they wonder, well, what do we do? Well, so that's where they're going down. Well, what's going to be there? Well, they guess the Queen. Because, we forgot to mention that. While they were talking about it, they realized the best way to stop these things was the Queen. Because if they're like a hive, then there's got to be a Queen that's been giving all the orders, that's been doing all this. So they figure, maybe the Queen's there. Why would they be doing all this stuff from there? We should probably go there. And they say, well, how we get there? Kevin's car got trashed earlier. Well, it turns out Kevin has a spare. Well, kind of. It turns out he was making Ben one for his birthday, which actually does come back in the show. He actually gets it in Ultimate Alien. And, of course, Kevin wants to drive it because he's Kevin, but Ben threatens him by saying, "I'll go Humongosaur and throw this car if you don't give me the keys."
Yeah, so of course.
So Ben gets the car and drives off, while Kevin just sits in the back seat grumbling.
Mm-hmm.
So but anyway, they get to the ship place, and pretty much they find it's packed. There's a lot of people there. All of them are drones. Even Max has gotten there, which Halley kind of
Yeah, I don't understand how Max got there before they did, when, Sam keeps saying, Rust Bucket is the Rust Bucket, you can't question that. Yes, I can, because I still think Rust Bucket versus brand new sports car built from scratch by a dude who,
he knew the tunnels for the base better than anyone, and on top of that, how long did it take for them to get all this information together and go upstairs and get the car all settled up? He still would have gotten a bit of a head start on them.
Yeah, by 15 minutes.
Still, he probably would have gotten there before them.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think either of us are going to win this argument either way, so
no,
it's best not to have it. Anyways, though, they go inside and they see that there's all these people packaging up these chips, and in the center of it all is the man in the trench coat with all these tubes going out, and it turns out that it's Victor. It turns out that Victor Validus is the center of all this. He was the man in the trench coat, and Gwen and Kevin recognize him because they saw the security footage of Max interrogating him. And admittedly, yeah, Gwen and Kevin are... Okay, in this case, they can be actually angry at Elena, because it's revealed, she knew this. She knew that her dad was taken over by the Hive. She just didn't mention it because she thought that if she did, they'd treat her like they treated her dad, which they treated her like her dad anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean... Though her decision, don't tell them the full story because then they'll treat you different, was kind of stupid, because, if you come to someone and say, hey, my dad was working on this technology and somehow something has happened to him and he has been taken over, I need your help, they're going to be more willing. They're still going to be willing. It's not like they're going to say, oh no, he's a lost cause now. They're still going to,
they
say,
at least
well, we can see if we could try and save him.
But just hiding the secret actually is, even Ben calls her on it. He tells Gwen and Kevin to calm down, but he says, Elena, I trusted you. Why didn't you tell me this?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's kind of she withheld information for unnecessary reasons. It's dumb.
Mm-hmm. But seems to be a theme, though.
Yeah, but however, they start wondering, well, what do we do now? Where's the queen? And they start putting things together. They look in the center, and because he has all these tubes coming into him where chips are going out, they realize that the queen's in him, because the queen in a hive is the one that produces all the bees and all the worker ants, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They realize the queen is in him. The queen's controlling him personally, and that's how he's the center of all this. That's how he's controlling it. That's how he's producing the chips. The queen's inside of him, and for some reason, Gwen and Kevin tell Ben, you gotta kill him, which is very out of character for both of them.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, up to this point, personally, I've had a problem with Gwen up to this point, because
we'll get to that later.
Yeah,
though.
I know, but she just wasn't acting right. But yeah, so
Kevin for the most part was acting in character though.
Yeah, but we will get after the explanation. That's a different story. Anyway, so it was weird to see that these guys were they weren't even saying, well, this is our best chance. No, it was, this is the only way. And when Ben's like, guys, I'm not just gonna kill him, they were like, but you have to.
But yeah, Ben says, no, there's another way. And so he realizes the nanochip DNA. The Omnitrix scanned it earlier. Mm-hmm. Maybe he could go alien and try and get in. And admittedly,
their logic in this part made sense.
Because they said it's a hive mind. If Ben turned into one of those chips, he could easily become taken over by those things. He might be taken over, but Ben says, no, this is the only way. This is the only way. I have no choice. We have to do this. And at that point, but their bickering winds up getting the attention of the drone, of all the workers, so Ben really has no choice. So he scrolls through the alien, and finally, and to my glee, because I always like talking about this, after 2 seasons, Ben finally gets in. We finally see Ben turn into a new alien. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first appearance of an alien called Nanomech. A little miniature, half-human, half-mechanoid thing that uses the DNA of the chips. I like his design, mostly. I'm going to pause the summary to talk about Nanomech, because I always like talking about the new aliens when I can. Nanomech, essentially, that's what he is. He's just a little nanomechanical being. He's small, he looks like a little robot. He's got one giant eye with four little strobes. The Omnitrix is on his chest. He can fly, he can shrink, he can adapt like the chips. And I will openly admit it's a very situational transformation because being that small isn't very useful. I will not lie. But honestly, Nanomech is on my list of favorite aliens, just for his first appearance.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he seems like a pretty kick-ass alien. Like,
Yeah.
he just, even despite, he's only, like, this big when he's at his tallest, he's still a pretty awesome, versatile, like, awesome alien in his role.
Yeah.
And the abilities they show for him are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't seem like he seems like the first actually truly biomechanical, like, living robot that Ben has ever turned into, which is pretty cool because that's always something that I find.
Well, there's technically Upgrade. There's technically Upgrade, which is kind of like that. But...
Yeah, kind of, but this is like truly biomechanical. Like, this is a robot that has a personality.
Yeah. Well, and he does do some cool stuff. Gray Matter, while he is smart, is probably less situational because he doesn't have any other attributes besides his intelligence. But Nanomech can fight. He can fly. He can make himself smaller and can grow a little bit and can grow somewhat here and there. He can shoot electric bolts, and once again, like all the other nanochips, he can adapt. He can alter his body physiology to adapt to the situation and get stronger, get better. And again, all this stuff. And while he's not on my list of favorite aliens, because again, he's very situational. He's like this tall. There's not a lot of times that that's gonna an alien like it's gonna actually do anything. I think, but it's just from his first appearance alone, Nanomech is one of my favorite aliens. Just for that, and when Ultimate Alien, when they start trying to integrate the live action movies into the plot, they did bring Nanomech in, and I think he got gimped. Like, his voice turned from the cool thing that Alex Winter, the director, so high pitched voice like this. That's the voice they gave him, and he didn't do a whole lot in Ultimate Alien.
Yeah,
that annoys me. That honestly annoys me. I'm glad they brought. Its first appearance is better. And it's his first appearance alone that puts him on my list.
I could understand though why they why he wouldn't work outside of this movie, because the role that Nanomech plays is literally just for this movie. Like, he was made for this. Like, there's no like, they didn't think of what if after. This was the only thing they had in mind for him.
Well, again, that's where I kind of come to he's very situational.
Yeah.
Again, when he is useful, he's damn useful. I like that.
Anywho, so do you mind if I wrap up the explanation real fast?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, we can get to it. Pretty much, Gwen, Kevin, and Elena end up fight off the drones while Ben flies into Victor, and he ends up fighting the Queen, which I like the design of the Queen. She looks like a bug. She looks like a bug, and
she looked like a praying mantis.
Exactly, and she was creepy.
Yeah.
She tries to get Ben, but he manages to resist. They do get out, and in the end, Ben manages to destroy her by adapting one of her tricks into action, turning it against her. And with the destruction of her, all the other chips are annihilated. Everyone's freed. Max is freed. He goes back in character just enough to give Ben a hug and say thanks for helping us. And in the end, pretty much everyone walks off and is happy, and
they literally drive off into the sunset.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Yeah. I have a list.
Yeah, she did actually make a list.
I made a list so I wouldn't forget anything.
Yeah, she said she was going to make a list. That's what she said. She was going to make a list in the Voided episode. That's what she did.
Okay, so the actor that did Kevin, I can't remember his name because I'm horrible with names.
I don't remember any of their names.
I never do. He didn't look right. Like, he did not look like Kevin to me.
Yeah.
I saw him and I was like, eh. But then he opened his mouth. I'm like, oh my god, yes.
That's the thing with the that's another thing with the actor who played Kevin. Kevin, honestly, for me, honestly, I think he looks all right in the part. Like, they got kind of the general idea down. He doesn't look. He's not exactly the same. Like, his mullet does not look anything like Kevin from the show. But he definitely acts it. All the inflections, all the attitude, what he says, all of it fits Kevin.
Yeah, his personality and the way he talks and what he says, it makes sense for Kevin.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is, his actual appearance looks like he's more likely to be writing angsty poetry than, fixing cars.
Yeah.
I had the exact opposite problem with Gwen, though.
Yeah, Gwen looked the part.
Yeah,
like
she looked like looked straight out of the show.
Yeah, what's actually really nice too, and this is kind of something I noticed in the beginning. She had the outfit that you see Gwen wear in seasons 1 and 2 of Alien Force, but by the end, she's wearing the outfit that you see her wear in season 3, which I thought was a little nice. I thought was a really nice little transition. But they did. But while she looks the part, they got the wrong. For some reason they got the wrong writer because she acts like 10-year-old Gwen.
Yeah, she's a little bratty, like snotty.
Yeah.
She's not really a team player. She's kind of a know-it-all, goody two-shoes, but
she's always the one that, and she's also the one, and she's usually the one that jumps against Elena first too.
Yeah, like she seems to be like the one that's permanently pissed off at everyone outside of their immediate group.
Yeah, and again, Gwen could have moments like that in Alien Force, but in some cases it was but in those cases it was justified for the most part.
Yeah, this was more of just a general standoffishness and I am better than you towards everyone.
Yeah.
It was like, ooh.
Yeah, and again, we're going back, and then let's go to Max. When he first appeared at the ending scene, he looked and acted like you would expect Max Tennyson to act. Laid back, fun, but he could be serious and be curious about something. And while still seeming a bit sagely, but the instant Elena and the name Validus appear, he turns into a complete and utter jackass.
Mm-hmm. He really did. I mean, I would have never, like, I only saw the middle parts of this character, I would not have guessed it was Max Tennyson.
Aside from the name, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have never had been able to say, yes, that is, because he was really just kind of mean. Like, it wasn't even, justified ignorance or anything. It was like, there's a scene where they were showing a video of Max interrogating Victor about whether or not he took the chips, and he's just being mean. Like,
he's not even giving him the benefit of the doubt. No, he's not.
Like when Victor says they're alive, they're going to do damage. They're not safe. Ben's reaction was, "You're lying. You're not telling the truth." Max, sorry. Yeah. Reaction was, "You're lying. You're not telling the truth."
Yeah, he just assumes. And again, Max can have those moments even in the classic series where where he's seen a bit standoffish, but in some cases he was using his brain or his grandkids are acting up.
And it was never about, you're in danger. When someone says you're in danger, his reaction wasn't, you're lying.
No.
It was, why do you think that?
Yeah, like,
what's going on?
Going as early as the classic series, going to Kevin 11, throughout that episode, Max was being pissed off too. But it was justified in that one. Ben did something very stupid. He was supposed to be punished, but yet he ran away. And because of Ben's actions, it resulted in Kevin getting the powers of the Omnitrix and trying to hurt innocent people. And while Max was still mad at him, he still knew people's lives are on the line. We got business to take care of. And he was still mad at Ben, but for justified reasons. Here, it's not justified. It's not justified at all. He's being... Rather than giving Victor the benefit of the doubt, and again, I mentioned Phil earlier that could be a reason why, but Phil's never, but even then, he's just being too pushy. Like, he doesn't even try to give him the benefit of the doubt. He just assumes, you're evil, you're obviously trying to sell these, who are you selling them to? Well, Victor's saying, no, they're alive, they're a mess. And again, I talked about that Victor could have at least gone to official channels that maybe could have lessened it, but Max's reaction was too mean, and even just a blacklist Elena, who had nothing to do with it. Well, on the subject of Elena, she's not that great of a character.
We didn't even, we know nothing about her still. Like, we've gone through a whole movie, and I still only know she's a plumber's kid. She went to school with Ben, and she played soccer. And she has a motorcycle.
Yeah, and she kind of has an attitude, but it's mostly in the sense of she's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Like, she kind of has an attitude, but she can be a little annoying, which I don't like to say because... They bring her back in Ultimate Alien for, again, more of the retcon, like with what they did with Eon. And I'm not going to mention it because it does get on my nerves, the retcon, especially with how this film wrapped up. I'm not going to talk about it, but I will say they bring her back, and at least she actually has a more established character there. It clashes with what they have here, but it's more established. Here, she's more just standoffish, while she withholds information. She acts like a know-it-all. I can kind of see why she and Gwen clash because for some reason they're written very similarly, and it's not well written. And again, it's just she really is. I can understand some of her reasoning, but not all of her reasoning. I understand where she's coming from, but I don't like where she's going. She just. She wants to help her dad, she wants to save him, and yet
it seems like she has these really, really good intentions, but then when she actually tries to act on them, she does it wrong.
Very wrong.
Like, she tries to go from point A to point B, but instead she goes point A, Z, Q, U,
she goes
X,
all over the map.
And then to B.
Yeah, big example, she set up a deal to get their attention. rather than actually maybe talking to them or calling them, maybe contacting Ben and saying, "Look, I need your help. Can you get?"
This movie could have been like a 30-minute thing if she would have just said, "Hey, I need your help."
Yeah, and then she could have said, "Listen, I need to talk with Gwen and Kevin. I want you to bring Gwen and Kevin. Maybe bring her grandfather in later. He doesn't exactly like me. Maybe explain it more. And again, maybe you could say maybe she was desperate or something. I don't know. But again, she's all over the map. But then out of all the characters though in this film, the one that's 100% in character, one who matches the show perfectly, is
Ben.
Exactly. He is written exactly how you would expect Ben to be written in the show, and his actor does a great job of portraying it for a TV movie. Like, he gets all the inflections right, he gets all the lines right, he can be goofy when he wants, he can be serious when he wants, the morals feel out of place, the one-liners and his own investigation, it all fits into Ben 10 Alien Force.
It was Ben.
Yeah, exactly. 100% written. There was never a moment where I looked at this and thought, it doesn't exactly fit. No. 100% all the time, he looked the part, he sounded the part,
that was the perfect choice.
Yeah. Like, maybe you can make the excuse me for that one scene, because he said, "Oh, no one else knows what it's like, I this thing attached to me," but because he chose to put it back on, but even then, he was trying to comfort her, trying to make her feel belonged, so you could still make the argument that it's still in character.
Yeah, I mean, that was more, I could have done without that scene, to be honest, but you could make the argument because it is, he was trying to be comforting, trying to relate to her. This is someone that he likes, But yeah, no, he was the only character who consistently more than once and very fairly consistently was with.
He was in character.
In character,
and it does fit. And it really fit. And once again, we go back to the chips. They were still very good. They were threatening, creepy, and when they were an active force, holy crap! You needed to run.
Oh yeah, no, they were kick ass. But I must say though, I don't understand. Like, in this entire movie, they never called Grandpa Max Grandpa. Once.
Well, maybe. I think maybe in the end.
No.
I think I heard Grandpa once or twice somewhere.
No, they call him Max. I was waiting for it, but they call him Max. They do not call him Grandpa. They just call him Max.
I think I heard him maybe twice, maybe once.
Nope, not even.
Well, let's agree to disagree, because I think I heard it once, but I can understand where you're coming from. They mostly call him Max.
It bothers me. I don't even call my grandpa by his first name. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's true. Even in Alien Force, they still called him Grandpa. Or Grandpa Max.
Yeah.
Even when they met Verdona, they called her Grandma Verdona.
Okay, one other thing that's really bothering me, because I'm looking at my list.
Okay, what is it?
So, when they get into, when Ben and Elena get to this building, the first building where they were trying to track down what these chips were and everything, and this was where Elena said her dad was running experiments on these chips. They walk in, and there's a bunch of bags everywhere.
Oh, the piss.
They're all 3 inches full.
Well, even when you're possessed by alien chips, when you gotta go,
and they're all full of this strange yellow liquid.
Again, when you're
convinced it's pee.
And it probably is. I don't know.
They're tacked to the walls. They never say what they are beyond.
Never, be quiet.
They're just there.
They probably are too. Because even if you're possessed by a queen, sometimes you just gotta go.
I feel like they should explain this to us, because I don't want to assume it's pee.
I think it was probably just background thing. I think it's best if you don't pay too much mind to it.
Then they chose a really bad background detail. Yeah. But yeah, no. Oh yes, and then when as they were leaving, Ben and Elena, they started getting chased by the hive, and they're trying to catch them to take them to the queen.
And they're just walking.
Yes, these guys are because the Omnitrix was all messed up, so Ben couldn't go alien, and Elena runs for the fire exit and says this way, and so Ben follows, and as they're going down the fire exit, literally these people are 2 steps behind them, you could reach out and touch them, and. Nothing.
Actually, that's kind of the thing. When that is kind of a thing. When the chips are an active force, when they're not with the host, they are a force to be reckoned with. When for some reason when they're in a human host, they just walk.
Yeah, they don't. There's no
aside from Max,
effort.
Aside from Max, who tried to hit Ben over the head with a computer.
Yes, Max was the only actively aggressive one.
And maybe Victor too.
Well, Victor,
but
when
again,
he
was
converted people, though, only.
Yeah, true.
Otherwise, they didn't actively, they weren't actively aggressive. Like, they would walk creepily towards you slowly.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't actually go at you.
Yeah, when the chips, chips by themselves, active threat. When they're in someone, you could probably just get a metal pipe and
speed walk. You'd be fine.
Unless you were surrounded, in which case you probably would need something.
I mean, honestly, they were surrounded when they got on the motorcycle, and they literally just went through them, and they stepped to the side.
Well, to be fair, Ben hit them with the DNA, with the energy wave that scanned their DNA.
That is true.
So maybe he knocked many of them aside. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying. Well, again, we already talked about how we think the CGI is nice. It's not really realistic it's a TV movie, but the aliens still look cool. Big Chill is nice. They actually did get D. Bradley Baker to actually do the Big Chill voice. Something I don't understand though is why he didn't. For some reason, Humongosaur didn't speak. I don't know why. It made sense for Race Against Time. It was for Wildmutt at least, because it was Wildmutt. He's a dog alien.
Yeah,
he's a dog alien. While they got D. Bradley Baker to do that, they made him sound more snarling. For some reason, Humongosaur didn't talk. I don't know why. He
yelled.
He growled. He roared.
He did not talk.
Even though Humongosaur usually talks.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Okay, if we're going to go into when Humongosaur appeared, though. So, on the car chase. So, first off, I love that car. Oh my goodness. It's such a pretty car.
Abused. But it keeps getting abused throughout the show.
First things first. I do not know any teenagers who are driving a brand new Dodge Charger or I don't know what car Ben had, but oh my goodness, that was a nice car. Like, that was sell a kidney car.
It's Kevin. I would buy it if it was Kevin.
I know, but still. And, okay, so as they're going through this, as Gwen and Kevin are being chased by the chips, and they have turned into these rolling spike balls of doom.
That was a very fun chase too, because they kept having to run around as these things kept gaining on them and getting strong.
Mm-hmm. They finally crash one of them. One of them hits a wall and disintegrates, but there's still two more after them, and they take out the wheels of the car.
They flip the car over,
and the car flips. And earlier, I had noticed when they went around a sharp turn and Gwen literally slid into the window that she wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah, she should have flied out.
They flipped the car, and it wasn't even just, flip. No, it was up in the air, somersault, hit the ground, flip, 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 right side up.
Yep. She doesn't get out with us, and she comes out with not even a scratch.
She slipped out, and she goes, "It hurts when I laugh, but otherwise I'm okay." It's like...
Not even Kevin was wearing a seatbelt, but he probably could have gotten something.
Yeah. I mean, but, she should be dead.
Yep.
She should have died. And so I have a problem with that because, seatbelts, people, they're important.
Seatbelts are very important. They have saved me. She's got more, actually.
Oh, yes, I have a second page.
I honestly can't think of anything else to talk about. I kind of covered my piece in the summary with what I thought about the action scenes, what I liked about the CGI. I think is nice. I love the villains. I love Nanomech as a cool villain. I love Nanomech. And the thing that made problems is it kind of story progression and how it kind of affects with the characters. As it clashes with continuity, as we were told Max was retired. He's not written like Max, except maybe once or twice in the beginning, in the end, and maybe a little bit in the middle, but don't quote me on that. Mm-hmm. But even then, but I think that's really, I kind of said my piece. I liked the nano chips as villains. I liked Ben. He was still nice. The action scenes were great. And I still like the mystery with these things and you realizing how big a threat they are. I really liked that.
Oh no, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I have two more things and then I'll be done.
Yeah.
Okay, first one. When they were in this fight, when Ben had shrunk down and was Nanomech, and he shrunk down and he was inside Victor and he was fighting the Queen and everything, they're throwing energy pulses at each other inside Victor's brain. And, he's acting like he's having a headache, which makes sense because energy pulses in your brain.
Two little metal bugs just fighting it out in your head.
And there, at the end, when Ben kills the Queen, which first off he just drove an entire race to extinction. Hey,
well, again, they were taking over the race. It was probably the case of it was either him or. It was either them or... Yeah.
I get why, but at the same time, 2 minutes ago, he was venomously saying, "No, I can't kill him!" And now there's an entire race dead. But, so, when they're in there and he kills the Queen, there's a shockwave explosion. And it literally sends jolts out that are felt outside of Victor. Yet Victor is fine.
Yeah,
he had a shockwave go
on top of that, he had tubes going in his body. He had tubes in his body too,
and he literally walked out of there.
Yeah, well, he was limping, but yeah.
Yeah, he limped a little, but
that's pretty much.
He was upright. He was conscious.
He was completely fine. That was yeah.
And I had a problem with that because there's no way that you can have two little people fighting in your brain and not be at least unconscious.
Yeah,
there's no way that
you get more than just a sinus headache. Pretty much.
There's no way you could have like tubes coming out of every solid part of your body and
still could be fine.
Yeah, and not just be like in excruciating pain.
Yeah.
Okay, but my last thing.
What is it?
And then I will let you end this. I will let the ship it go. Only if you say you ship it.
I ship it.
Yes! We all ship it. Okay. I'm done now.
I'm only saying it because it's the name of the company. But but again, aside from that, and yeah, there are flaws in this film. The writing, it can be all over the place. Elena's not that great. Like, the main characters can be annoying, and there are times when they're out of character, but the mystery with the chips is nice. I like the villains are a big enough threat that you want to see what's happening with them. Ben is still written in character, so it's nice. It's still, the action is really nice. It actually does have a nice flowing tone that feels like an episode of the show in that regard. It actually has some nice, when it does actually have some nice high octane action, it does. Are there some characters that are gimped? Yeah, Gwen in personality and her powers is just gimped. Kevin, his powers are lessened kind of, as you only get like a few seconds here and there. But I think overall, if I have to compare this film to like Race Against Time, I honestly think that Alien Swarm is the better film between the two. Race Against Time was and I will admit there are some parts I like, but I think the Swarm is a better villain idea than Eon. While I like Christian Anhold, I still think this is better. I liked seeing all this, and again, they bring it and like in a Race Against Time, it causes Ben to turn into the very thing he's fighting. But at least in this case, he actually has an alien. I still liked it. I still liked all that. I kind of like the ending. I kind of like the ending and again, this film had more positive reception, I think, and even to the point where they started integrating this into the actual canon. While Race Against Time, they said took place in another timeline altogether. So.
I mean, I would agree that this is like I enjoyed the plot line of this. I enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the villain. My only critique would be that there are some character flaws, but for the most part, it was a solid movie. Yeah, its timing was very well done, so that it flowed very nicely, and it worked very well, in my opinion. Yeah.
The plot flowed nicely. I think the biggest problem is that some things were gimped, and which makes sense for special effects budget and all that. The characters could have been some characters were not written as they were intended. I.e., looking at Max and Gwen. Some characters, ironically, kind of didn't get as much screen time because despite the fact that Victor and Elena were kind of the center of all this, they didn't get much of a development.
No, they really didn't. But I could, you could kind of tell they were focusing more on
the characters you know than the characters you don't.
Yeah, and it wasn't really focused on developing character, more of just telling the actual story, which is probably why which is probably why there's more of the issues with the characters, because it wasn't about them. It was about the story about how they saved the world.
Yeah, and again, for what it is, it definitely is nice. It's entertaining. It's got a lot. It's got some good action. It's got a great villain. It's got a nice flowing pace. Overall, I think despite its glaring flaws, Benton Alien Swarm is a pretty decent movie, and if you're interested, I'd recommend it over Race Against Time. And again, I don't hate Race Against Time. I think it's alright-ish. But this film is definitely an improvement. They definitely took notes. They definitely learned. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I can think of. Good movie. Again, this is about 53 minutes, even concluding those pauses that we had to take. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson.
I'm Haley Dudley.
And tune in next week where I'll be looking at the beginning of Season 3 and the reintroduction of one of the show's greatest villains in a season that admittedly isn't that great. We're going to be starting Season 3 next week, people, with Vengeance of Vilgax, Part 1. So, again, Samuel Johnson.
Haley Dudley.
And I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Take care.